Hey, this is Sarah from sarahdesign.com, and I'm going to walk you through this mock-up today. This is my stainless steel straight side tumbler with glitter. Let's take a look. Here's the basic stuff in the file. There's a lot of layers, and I didn't put them in too many folders. Like, there's just a lot of things that you adjust. So if you just open up a folder, you can kind of look in there and see what there is. So we'll start out, we've got the white background layer, which you can turn on or off. So if you wanted to put a different picture behind here, you could. And just to show you how the lid works, if you do put another picture behind here, you will sort of be able to see through the lid to that background. So you can see I've turned on this blue background, and now you can see blue through the lid itself. And it looks even better if you have a photo of a scene or something like that behind it. And then we have our shadows. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just a few layers in there. Then you have the tumbler itself. Above that, this red layer is the smart object layer. So that is a wrap around the entire tumbler. And you can see if I select the mask here, it shows you what part of the tumbler is showing. So there is a mask over that. If you were like covering this whole thing with some color or pattern, it's very easy to just, I'm going to deselect this, just to pop open the smart object and edit that. And I'll show you that in a sec. Then this top layer above it says Shine Boost. This is optional. So if you want it to look a little bit more muted, like if your scene is a little bit darker, you might not want that extra Shine Boost on there. And above this is a lid layer where I also added a note that says turn off purple lid transparency when using. So if you're using this lid layer, you probably don't want the lid showing on top of the tumbler. So inside of the tumbler folder, here's those purple lid transparency layers I'm mentioning. You just turn both of those off, and then it makes more sense having the lid down here. And this lid is movable. Oops. Select the right layer. This lid is movable. So you can move it all over, but it really makes most sense kind of leaning against the left side of the tumbler here. And there's no logo on the lid. And it is transparent. Alright, so let's dig into the tumbler layer itself. So in here, there's a color options layer, and I actually made 3 of these. And I made them, I'm using some color indicators in here, which might change by the time you purchase the file, but I'm just trying to keep things organized. So usually if I have a color on 2 things, that means those 2 things are on at the same time, or they could be on at the same time. Like with lid transparency, I have this purple layers. Glitter is its own color. So these, I have them as separate colors of yellow, green, and blue, just so you know that you would pick one or the other. Like if you wanted just one color, then you can just double click in there. This is actually a gradient fill, whereas normally maybe we would want to use a color fill for a single color, but I wanted it to be really easy for you to add gradients left and right, so I just left it as a gradient fill. I might add a regular color layer before I package this up for sale, but right now it says color options 1 color, so if you want the whole thing to be purple or red or green or whatever, pick that layer. If you want a 2 color gradient, pick the 2 color one, and 3 color, pick the 3 color one. Let's go into the 2 color one. So if I double click on that and launch it, it opens up this gradient fill dialog box, and then all the settings in here are fine. It's just linear, 90-degree angle, scale is 100, so on and so forth. We just click in the little bar where the colors are once, and it brings up the gradient editor. And this is where you can change the colors and the placement of the gradient on your tumbler. So you see, you have this long strip, and then we have arrows above that have a little black square on them, one way on the left, one way on the right, and that's the opacity. But down below we have little arrows pointing up, and these are the colors. This is the color stop is what they call it. So if you click on it, it shows the color that is in use right here, which is this purple color. Click on that one and it has this teal color. So if we wanted to alter the colors in those little areas and on the tumbler, you just click where it says color, and then you could pick something else, hit OK, and now we instantly have different 2 colors on there, and just keep hitting OK until you get back out again. So it's really fun. It's a really fun one to use. And then above that we have this shiny streaks layer. You can always turn off the shine wherever I've indicated it if you want things to be a little bit more muted, but I think it adds a lot more dimension and interest to have that on. And then we have our glitter layer. So if you sell glitter dipped items, you're going to love this layer. All you have to do is click it on, and now we have glitter. So whatever colors we apply, it has glitter, and when you want the glitter to turn off, you just hide it. Very, very easy. Okay, now let's open up the smart object. So if we go up, I'm just going to close the Tumbler folder so you aren't staring at a bunch of different layers. Let's go up to this red smart object layer. So something to note before I click to open it is we have some effects sitting on here. There's a little arrow over on the right that if you click it, it hides that. And the only reason you know that there's effects in there is because it says FX over here. So if you're playing with this and you're like, I don't want it to be white, I want it to be black, and you can't figure out how to change the color, it's because it's in here. You just have to open it up and see. This is where I've added the color white to the original color of the smart object that I pasted in, which is black. So you'll understand that in a second. I'm making it white because white looks better on there. So if I double click in the little box over here, this is the smart object, it's going to open it up in a new tab up here. This is our PSB tab. That is your smart object. And you can see that in here, okay, hello there is in black. But the only reason it's white is because back on the main folder, I have this color overlay that I've applied to it. So that's a place where there can be some confusion. If you're like, oh, I want this to be, you know, some other color, and you try coloring it in here, and then you go back and it's like, it's not changing, it's not changing. And it's either A, because you didn't hit save before you went back, or B, because you're actually applying the color in here, not inside the smart object. So when you paste your design in here, you will just hide the one that I have or delete it and just paste your design right over top of it, and it will show up on the cup. Just for an example, I have this red layer. This coats the entire thing. We're going to go back and see how it looks over here, but we haven't hit save yet, so it hasn't happened. And we know that because there's an asterisk up here in the corner of the tab indicating, oh, you haven't saved this. So we'll go up to File, Save. The asterisk went away. We go back and it has been applied. So the reason it looks white is because of this color overlay effect. So we'll just hide that, and then you can see that if you were to wrap this entire tumbler in a label, or you wanted to coat it in some sort of pattern, that's the area that would be covered, and you'd be able to see it through the lid and so on and so forth. And again, remember, if you turn off that lid, you can also turn this back on. So you can understand the area that gets handled by that smart object. Okay, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to turn that off, turn that one back on, and go back and hit save. And we're back to our original. And I think it's fun to leave the glitter on. And we'll turn the effects back on. So I hope that kind of covers some of the areas where you might get tripped up, and that you understand what's going on in here. I've tried to make it as easy as possible, you know, and I don't want you to feel intimidated, but there are a lot of layers in here, and so it can get confusing. You're always welcome to reach out if you get confused. One of the best places is to join my Facebook group, Mockups for Drinkware Makers, and ping me there. But you can also email me or join my email list over at sarahdesign.com, where you can reach me. But generally, I would just say do one thing at a time. Once you download this file, just click something off and something on and see how it looks. And be like, okay, what if I hit this and this? Okay, that's what happens. And then I can turn that off, or I can turn that back on, and I can turn these off. And you might be like, what happens if I turn off the glitter? Okay, that's what happens. But you understand that's the glitter on, that's the glitter off. What if I turn off tumbler details? Oh, see, if you turn off tumbler details, you can't see any like line on where the bottom attaches to the tumbler. So that's what that's for. So just take your time, slowly go through each of the layers and take a look. And, you know, worst case scenario, you throw away your file and you download the original again, and you'll get it as I've set it up for you, and you should be able to work from that.